All right, welcome back to Doing Great Things. Today, it's hot cocoa cookies. When I take these to work and share them with my friends, they absolutely love them. They're great for the winter time, but you know what? I make these year round, and hopefully you enjoy this. What you will need today for this recipe, you need a half cup unsalted sweet cream butter, 1.5 cups Nestle semi-sweet chocolates, 1.5 cups of flour, 1/4 cup Hershey cocoa powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1¼ cup of brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 3 large eggs, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, and marshmallows. There will be an ingredient list later on for the chocolate icing that goes on top. First step in this process is to put the butter, unsalted butter, into the pan, let it begin to melt. We've got a double boiler going on there, and once it begins to melt, I am going to add the chocolate chips. The butter is beginning to melt, so let's go ahead and add the chocolate chips. We're going to stir this frequently, get it all melted down, and then we will set it aside to cool because it will be mixed with more ingredients. All right, it looks like the chocolate chips have melted down. I'm gonna cut the heat on that, take this off, and we're gonna let the chocolate cool down a little bit so we can mix it with the other ingredients. All right, we've got a medium mixing bowl, and we're gonna mix together the flour, the baking powder, the cocoa, the salt, and the cinnamon. And we're going to combine those together and mix them up real good. We're going to set this aside and save it for when we need to add it to the rest of the ingredients. It's time to start mixing in all the ingredients. We'll start with the brown sugar. We're going to put that in here. I like to take the brown sugar, put it in the bowl, mix it up, and it helps me find the chunks of brown sugar that I need to break up so that we don't have lumps in it. So I get this going. If I see a lump of brown sugar, try to go find it where I just saw it, and I break it apart. Do it again. This brown sugar doesn't appear to have too many lumps in it. Next, I'm going to add the eggs, one at a time. Then we'll add the vanilla. Then we'll add the cooled chocolate. Go ahead and drop this down to make this a little bit easier. This is a challenge, folks. Trying to stay out of the camera shot and add this in at the same time. It is a battle. We will overcome. Well, that's as much of the chocolate as I could get out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this back up and let it mix. I like to stop every once in a while and work it down from the sides. You know, keep it from building up on the sides. Keep it added into the mix. All right, at this point in time, we can start adding in the dry ingredients that we have combined earlier. I'm gonna put about half of it in there. And we'll turn it on. Better turn this on low, otherwise it will fly everywhere. Once again, I want to keep it worked down from the sides of the bowl so it can continue to combine with everything else. Just every once in a while, try to keep it off the paddle, way up off the paddle. And then I'm going to add the remainder of the dry ingredients. And once again, on low. And we are going to work it down from the sides again. Try to work it off the paddle a little bit. All right, I believe it's combined well enough. I'm going to go ahead and drop this down so I can work it a little bit off that paddle and off the sides. This is about the consistency, I guess, of maybe brownie mix. Okay, now I'm going to reach in there and I'm going to take this paddle off of there so I can get the mix off of the paddle. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure I unplug this thing. I never touch a blender or a mixer without unplugging it. To me, it's just not worth the issues that can come about if for some reason I accidentally turn it back on again while my hand is in there. I don't want any part of that. I kind of got to have my hands. At least I think I do. So, you know, it doesn't seem like a kitchen would be very unsafe environment, but it can be. I mean, if you do something stupid in the kitchen, yes, somebody can get severely injured. Okay, and that's about the best I can do about getting that off there. Pull this off there and push this to the side. Now what we have to do with this batter is we need to set it in the fridge, let it set up for about 4 hours. Now, have I always been able to wait 4 hours? No. I'm going to put it in a bowl and set it in the fridge. All right, it's time to scoop out the chocolate balls onto our baking pans. I actually didn't let them set up long enough, so they're a little gooey, but you know what? It's not the first mistake I've made today, but hopefully they'll turn out just fine. I've done it both ways to where I didn't let it set up well enough. The downside of not letting it set up is it gets your hands all messy, just like it's doing right now. But I also found out that they'll eat just the same, and they'll bake just the same, and they'll be good. Try to make sure I got these spaced out right. They're not a real big cookie, they're just right. They're going to be very rich, so you don't want a very big cookie to begin with. And there's the first batch. And we're ready to go to the oven. Let's put these in the oven. Got 2 shelves going here. One on each. I am going to put these in for 5 minutes, and then I am going to rotate them, switch shelves for another 5 minutes. And then when the 10 minutes is up, we're going to put marshmallows on. All right, the 5-minute alarm went off. I'm going to go ahead and rotate these. I don't know, I just don't trust ovens. They cook unevenly. It's just the way I am. So let's put that on for another 5 minutes. All right, 10 minutes is up. Let's go ahead and pull these out. See if we can't do the next step. Oh yeah, they're looking good. This is where you gotta be quick, because I don't like them cooling down too much. I already messed that one up. How about that? I'm going to put marshmallows in each one of these. Yep. I put usually 3. I mean, you know, hot cocoa does have marshmallows, doesn't it? Well, so do hot cocoa cookies. And I guess if you don't like marshmallows in your hot cocoa, maybe you don't put them in your cookies either. Just whatever floats your boat. Here at the end of this, I'm going to put in a little wrinkle into this business. I know these are hot cocoa cookies, but I've done a lot of experimenting with different things to put on these cookies. I think so far I've got 7 different toppings that I put on these chocolate cookies. You know, today of course is the hot cocoa cookies, but I'm going to also show you something else you can put on these cookies that is just amazing, and it is Andes mints. Let's stick them in there. Some Andes mints, and I just took a Andes mint and divided it into 4 pieces. Well, crumbles on this one. It's just an idea. I've got a bunch of other toppings. I will eventually show you all them. They all have the marshmallows and the Andes mints, of course. And we're gonna put them back in there. We're gonna bake these for about 3 more minutes. Let's set an alarm. All right, the alarm went off. I'm just gonna set them here for a second. Now, most generally, I try to get these off of these pans as quickly as I possibly can, because I feel like they continue to cook, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna put them on this cooling rack. I'm gonna try not to make a mess out of these poor things. Destroy them before we ever get to decorate them and eat them. But I am perfectly capable of messing something up. But you can't be afraid of messing things up. That's my opinion. Get these off of this baking sheet. Let them start cooling. And then we're going to start making the icing. And here's those 3 that I put the Andes mints on. I'm telling you folks, those are tasty. Those are tasty. But you know, I had to do it just to show you something else, you know, give you a little extra. We'll come back and finish these cookies off here in just a few minutes. All right, now it's time to make the icing. Let's do this. We're going to start off with 2 cups of powdered sugar. And folks, I thought I was probably the messiest person on the planet when it comes to flour, but no, my thing is powdered sugar. I can get it going everywhere. I'll throw the cocoa in there next. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a mix. And let's throw in the hot water. That's 1/4 cup hot water. And I'm afraid I didn't say how much cocoa. It's 1/4 cup cocoa. This is 4 tablespoons of no salt butter, melted, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And we mix. I'll go ahead and stop it for a second and push this stuff down so we can get it mixed in there good. And go again. Stop it and push it down again. This is all about getting everything mixed together good, so it's not sitting on the side of the pan and all that tastiness is wasted. That would be a crime to humanity. Alright, that's mixed pretty good. Now if you feel like that your icing is a little too thick, then you can add a little bit more hot water to it to thin it down. But it shouldn't take much. I mean, we're just talking very little. Alright, now it's time to ice these cookies. I've done this hundreds of times, and I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. This is just what I do. And if you think of something that works better for you, then so be it. Go ahead and do that. But this is what I do. Is it messy? Absolutely, it's messy. That's how it goes sometimes. I just put a glob on each one of them. And hopefully there's a little warmth left in these cookies and make this melt in there a little bit more. If not, you know what? It still has icing on it. And it's still going to taste great. And that is the icing on the cookie. Welcome to my channel, Doing Great Things. I just want to make something clear to everybody. I am not a chef. I wouldn't really call myself a cook. What I am is a history teacher. But I get some kind of enjoyment about going into the kitchen, following a recipe, making some good food, sharing it with other people. And that's why I do this. I've got a lot of my students that's asked for recipes, and I thought, well, you know, what a great opportunity to teach some young people how to cook. Doing simple recipes that I think they should be able to do, and it's a skill. So I'm doing this, number one, for fun, number two, to teach kids how to cook. And I just hope y'all give me some grace. I am not a trained chef. I don't know everything, and I do mess up. Hopefully you enjoy what I do. Doing great things.